Hello everybody, this is Michaela and we are doing Combinatorics discussion assignment, the very first assignment of the unit. Super exciting. And today we are looking at Venn diagrams. And what are we doing with them, you may ask? Well, we are going to fill them out, basically. We're going to fill them with data that's been collected and then use that filled in Venn diagram to answer some questions about the data. So today we are looking at this survey of college students and vegetables that they either like or don't like. And the vegetables are broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. So we have data basically for each of these vegetables. Some people like all three, which would fit right here because all three circles overlap at this spot. Some people like only two of them, so if they only liked kale and broccoli, they would fall into this little spot right here. Some people might only like one of them, so if somebody only liked cauliflower, they would only fall into this spot. And we're basically going to be working from the inside out. So we're going to start with the thing that the spot where everybody likes something, and then we're going to do the spots where they only like two things. Then we're going to do the spots where they only like one thing, and then we're going to do this box out here is everybody else, people that don't like any of them. So we're going to move up our list in this direction because that's how we move inside out, because this is all three, and then we move to two, and then we move to one. And then we see how many people took the survey but didn't like anything. So let's jump right into it, starting with our middle section right here. 14 people like all three vegetables. And we know that's this spot because that's where all three circles are overlapping. So we can go ahead and put 14 right in the middle there. Let's cross that off because we did that one. Next on our list, 24 people like both cauliflower and kale. So that's going to mean we're going to look for where only cauliflower and kale overlap. And that is so cauliflower and kale, it's this whole section, right? But 14 people have already been accounted for in this section of people that like both cauliflower and kale. So 14 of these people we can subtract from the 24 that the list says because they're already being accounted for in the people that also like broccoli. So 24 minus 14 is going to be 10 people. And so if somebody were to ask like, oh, how many people liked both cauliflower and kale? Then we would look at this whole section because these 14 people, they may have also liked broccoli, but they also like cauliflower and kale, so they count. But if somebody asked what people only liked cauliflower and kale, then we would say these 10 because these people also like broccoli. So the wording of questions really matters, but we will get into that later. So cross that off our list. Next, 25 like both broccoli and kale. So the section of people that like both broccoli and kale is where broccoli and kale overlap. So that's this section right here. And again, 14 people are already accounted for, so we can go ahead and subtract 14 from 25 to get 11. So same deal as when we did the last one. Because remember, those 14 people are already accounted for because they still like broccoli and kale. Next on our list, 29 like both broccoli and cauliflower. So we are going to be looking at this section right here. And 14 people are already being accounted for because they like broccoli and cauliflower too. So we can go ahead and subtract 14 from 29 to get 15 more people that like broccoli and cauliflower. Let's go ahead and cross that off our list. Now we are on to the people that only like one thing, at least. So 57 people like kale. We're looking at this whole circle, because everybody in this circle likes kale, at least. They might like some other things too, but they at least like kale. So we have the 11, the 14, and the 10 people already accounted for. So we have to subtract 11 plus 14 plus 10 from 57 to get the remaining people that like kale only. They all like kale, but some people also like broccoli, some people also like flowers, some people like all three. But this space is for the people that only like kale. So if we subtract 10 plus 14 plus 11 from 57, we get 22, and I already did that math beforehand. That's why I can write it down so fast. Same deal with people that like cauliflower. We have 90 people that like cauliflower, but we look at this whole circle because everybody in this circle likes cauliflower. Some of them like broccoli and kale too, but it doesn't matter because they all like cauliflower. So we have to subtract 15 plus 14 plus 10 from 90 to get the people that only like cauliflower. And that happens to be 51. Finally, on our list, we have broccoli people. 68 people like broccoli. And we are looking at this whole entire circle because everybody in this circle likes broccoli. And we already have 15, 14, and 11 people accounted for. So we add those together, subtract them from 68, and get our people that only like broccoli as 28. Now, this big space is also part of the Venn diagram. So everybody in here likes at least one of the vegetables. But if you add all this together, you don't get the amount of people that were surveyed. So this space is to account for everybody else who was surveyed but said, I don't like any of those vegetables. And so we add up 28, 51, 22, 15, 11, 10, and 14. And then we subtract it from 279 to get everybody else that participated in the survey but didn't like any of the vegetables on here. And if we do that, we get 128 people. So that is our completely filled Venn diagram. Let's see if it can help us answer some questions about the survey if we were going to go explain our results even more. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I have a nice little copy of our Venn diagram down here. So that way we don't have to scroll back up every time we try and answer a question. So we're going to use this little Venn diagram to help answer our questions. So question number 1. How many students like both cauliflower and kale, but do not like broccoli? And where's this number shown on your Venn diagram? So people that like cauliflower and kale, they're going to be in these two circles, right? But we have to remember this little section also includes people that like broccoli. So what we're looking at is this little section right here, because this is the section where only cauliflower and kale people cross over. So how many students like both cauliflower and kale? Well, that's going to be this number right here, which is 10 students. Next, how many students like both broccoli and kale, but do not like cauliflower? Where's this number shown on your Venn diagram? So our broccoli circle is here. Our kale circle is here. This little section is where they overlap. But this section is where people also like cauliflower. So that means, again, we want to look at this little section right here because it's where broccoli and kale overlap and cauliflower does not. So that means we have 11 students that like both broccoli and kale. 11 students. Number 3, how many students like both broccoli and cauliflower but do not like kale? And where is the number shown on your Venn diagram? Same thing as the last 2 questions. We're looking at broccoli and cauliflower. They overlap in this section, but kale also overlaps in this section. So that means we're only looking right here, because that's where only broccoli and cauliflower overlap. So we have 15 students that like both broccoli and cauliflower, but not kale. Number 4, how many students like kale, but don't like broccoli or cauliflower? And where is this number shown on your Venn diagram? So we're looking for people that only like kale. They don't, cauliflower, oh, that's kale. Cauliflower and broccoli are not their favorite. And so we are looking for the kale spot. So this whole circle is kale, but this section includes people that like cauliflower and broccoli. So that means we only care about this section, which is all people that only like kale. And so our number is going to be 22 students. Because although everybody in this circle likes kale, we're looking for people that only like kale. And everybody in this section likes something else other than kale. So that's why we only choose this one. Number 5, how many students like cauliflower but do not like broccoli or kale? Where's this number shown on your Venn diagram? So this time we're looking for people that only like cauliflower. So cauliflower is, all of our cauliflower lovers are in this circle, right? But people in this little section like other things other than cauliflower as well. And we want this section, which is people, cauliflower is their only vegetable. They love cauliflower, and that is it. So we are going with 51 students. 51 students. How many students like broccoli but do not like kale or cauliflower? So same deal, except with broccoli. So everybody in this circle likes broccoli, but everybody in this section likes something other than broccoli as well. And we only want the people that like broccoli only. So we want the people in that section, which is 28 people. 28 students. Number 7, we're almost there. How many students do not like broccoli, cauliflower, or kale? And where's this number shown on your Venn diagram? So we're looking for the kids that just don't like vegetables. They are like, no broccoli for me, no cauliflower, no kale. And remember, everybody in this section likes a vegetable of some sort. Likes a vegetable that was listed. Maybe they like carrots or corn or peas or something, but they do not like broccoli, cauliflower, or kale. And if you remember, we accounted for the students that participated in the survey but didn't like any of the vegetables they had to choose from. And we wrote that number out here because this box represents every student surveyed, right? But the people within here, they all like vegetables. And the people in the blank space don't like the vegetables. So that means 128 students did not like broccoli, cauliflower, or kale. So 128 students. Last question, why is a Venn diagram useful for organizing and displaying this information? Well, it's a way easier for us to, A, visually picture the data that we were given. Like, so if I scroll back up here, I would rather look at this to organize my data than a list like this, right? It's more visually pleasing. It's easier to take in. And it's just better. It's just a good way to look at all of your information at once. And I think the more important reason is our data is organized more efficiently. So let me erase these lines so we can look. just looking at this list, we can't tell how many people, like how many people out of the 25 that liked both broccoli and kale, we can't tell how many of those liked broccoli, kale, and cauliflower just by looking at this list. Because remember, so people that like broccoli and kale is this whole section right here. But in our Venn diagram, we can see that 14 out of those people that like broccoli and kale also like cauliflower. We can't tell that by just looking at this 25. But we can looking at our Venn diagram. Same thing with 90 people like cauliflower. So we know 90 people like cauliflower, but in our Venn diagram, we get more information from that 90. We can see that 15 of those like cauliflower and broccoli, 14 like all three, 10 like cauliflower and kale, and 51 like only cauliflower. We don't get that information just by looking at this list. We could find it, but we can't just look at it once and see that that's what the data is telling us. So our Venn diagram is just a very useful way to organize our information in a way that is visually pleasing, easier to look at, and easier to analyze. So yeah, super fun exercise. I hope you had a good time and learned something new. This was a super fun activity for me, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.